Your muscles are not just for movement, they are a reflection of your future. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, who lived with remarkable clarity and energy well past 100, knew something many of us forget as we age, that the body speaks, not with words but through effort, through how easily we rise from a chair, how we carry groceries, how long we can walk without needing to rest. He believed that our muscles are not merely flesh and strength, but the very echo of our independence. And yet for many that echo grows fainter each year. Perhaps you felt it too. A little more heaviness in the legs, a little more hesitation when bending down to tie a shoe. Perhaps you've asked yourself silently, why do I feel weaker, even though I'm not doing anything differently? That quiet fear of losing control, of becoming dependent, of feeling yourself slip into a version of life that is smaller than the one you remember, is more common than most doctors ever talk about. Because muscle loss after 60 doesn't arrive with sirens. It doesn't knock on your door and announce its presence. It creeps in with the ordinary, with the small choices, especially in the morning. This is the silent crisis. Most older adults aren't losing strength because they're sick or injured. They're losing it because of daily habits that seem harmless, or even healthy. A light breakfast, a bit of stillness after waking, a single cup of coffee, nothing more. These routines, repeated over months and years, can quietly sabotage the body's ability to preserve what matters most: muscle, balance, and autonomy. Dr. Andrew Weil once said that health isn't just about what you eat or how you move. It's about how your day begins. Morning is when your body is most sensitive, most responsive. It's the hour when your internal rhythm is reset or misaligned. And that's why this conversation matters, not just for your muscles, but for your whole life. Today, we'll talk about 3 morning habits, common, familiar, seemingly innocent, that may be accelerating muscle loss. But more importantly, we'll talk about how to gently replace them, with rituals that don't require strength or money or motivation, but only a little attention. Because your strength isn't gone. It may just be hiding behind choices no one ever warned you about. You are not weak. You are not broken. Your body wants to live. It just needs you to listen. And that listening can begin tomorrow morning, with a cup of warm water, with a little movement, with something simple on your plate that tells your body, we are rebuilding today. This is not a warning of decline. It is a quiet invitation to return to your strength. One morning at a time. The morning is a fragile bridge. After hours of fasting during sleep, your body wakes up not only seeking energy, but searching for raw materials to repair, restore, and rebuild. And if it doesn't find those materials, if the first thing you give it is just toast or fruit or coffee, it quietly begins to pull from itself, from your own muscles. This is something very few people talk about, yet it's one of the most underestimated causes of muscle decline in older adults. When you wake up and skip protein, or delay it until late in the morning, your body enters what science calls a catabolic state. That means it's breaking down tissue faster than it can rebuild it. And in an aging body, that tissue is often muscle. You may not feel it immediately, but over time you begin to notice the signs. A little more difficulty getting out of a low chair, arms that tire more quickly, legs that once walked easily, now hesitate before stairs. And the worst part? You may believe this is just age, but it's not age. It's absence. The absence of something as simple as a protein-rich start to the day. There's a window of opportunity after waking. Researchers call it the anabolic window, a brief period when your body is especially ready to absorb and use protein. In younger people, this window is forgiving. But as we grow older, our ability to process protein becomes more sensitive, more fragile. That's why waiting too long or eating only carbohydrates in the morning sends the wrong message. The message that there's nothing to build with. And so, the body begins to borrow from your legs, your back, your arms. If we look to cultures where people live long, active lives well into their 80s and 90s, we find a different pattern. In Okinawa, in Japan, elders often begin the day with a small but meaningful meal. A bowl of miso soup with tofu, a softly cooked egg, a slice of fish or fermented soy. It's not heavy, but it's enough. Enough to tell the body, you are safe. You have what you need. You don't need to adopt a full Japanese breakfast. The shift can be gentle. 1 boiled egg, a tablespoon of cottage cheese, a few bites of nut butter on toast. Simple, real food. And in just 7 days, you may notice something subtle, a little more energy in the afternoon, fewer cravings, a feeling that your body is more held together. Think of it this way. Skipping protein in the morning is like trying to build a house without bricks. You may have the tools, you may have the workers, but if there's nothing to build with, the structure won't hold. And day after day, the body will pull from itself, not because it wants to, but because it has no other choice. It's not about perfection. It's about offering your body what it has been quietly asking for, not with urgency, not with fear, but with care. You don't need to eat more. You need to eat differently. Just enough, just early enough to remind your muscles that they still matter, that they are still needed, that they still have work to do. There is a kind of stillness that heals, the quiet of early morning, the hush before the world begins. But there is another kind of stillness that slowly takes from us, the kind that sets in when the body rises, but does not move. For many older adults, the first hour of the day unfolds in silence, not just of sound, but of motion. Sitting at the edge of the bed, a quiet moment in the kitchen, reading the news in a favorite chair. It seems harmless, peaceful even. But inside the body, something different is happening. Muscles are not just mechanical parts. They are living tissues that depend on rhythm, signal, and stimulus. And after a night of stillness, they are waiting for a cue, a message that says, it's time to return to life. When that cue doesn't come, the body stays in a catabolic state, where muscle continues to break down slowly and silently. You may not see it, but over time, you feel it. A heaviness in the thighs, a hesitation when standing, a feeling of being off balance even after a good night's sleep. The legs, once steady and responsive, feel foreign, the arms slower to lift, and somewhere deep down, a question begins to rise. Is this just what happens now? But in truth, it's not just about age. It's about inactivity in the hour when the body is asking to be reawakened. Science confirms this. Even gentle movement early in the day sends powerful signals through the muscles, activating repair, reducing stress hormones like cortisol, and preparing the body for stability and strength. This movement doesn't need to be intense. In fact, it shouldn't be. What matters is that the muscles are called into participation, that they are remembered. In the hills of Ikaria, Greece, a region known for its extraordinary longevity, older adults often begin their mornings not by sitting, but by stepping into light. They open windows, they water plants, they walk slowly into their gardens, sometimes barefoot. It's not exercise, it's communion, with their bodies, with the earth, with life itself. 5 minutes of gentle leg lifts by the bedside, a slow walk to the front door, standing with the sunlight on your face. These are not small things. They are answers, quiet ones, to the question your body asks each morning. Are we still moving forward? Because your legs do not wake with the clock. They wake with you. They wait for the invitation. And when they are left unused, day after day, they begin to forget. But memory can return, not just to the mind, but to the muscles, to the movements that once came easily. It begins not with effort, but with awareness, not with urgency, but with attention. This is not about exercise routines or morning schedules. It is about reminding the body that it is still part of the day, still capable, still needed, even in silence, even in slowness, even in the first soft light of dawn. There's something comforting about that first cup of coffee, the warmth between your hands, the familiar aroma, the quiet ritual of beginning. For many, it is not just a drink, it is a companion, a gesture of awakening. But when coffee arrives before anything else, before water, before food, before the body has been gently prepared, it can become a thief in disguise. Especially as we age, the body becomes more sensitive to hormonal shifts. One of those shifts is cortisol, a stress hormone that is naturally higher in the morning, helping us wake. But caffeine, especially on an empty stomach, amplifies that cortisol response. It doesn't just wake you up. It can push your body into a mild but chronic state of stress, where muscle breakdown accelerates and repair is delayed. For someone over 60, this matters deeply. The body is no longer as forgiving. It doesn't bounce back the way it once did. Instead, it listens closely. It adjusts slowly. And when the first message of the day is alert, stimulate, burn, without nourishment to anchor it, the body takes that message too far. Studies show that older adults who drink coffee before breakfast, without any protein or fat to soften its impact, may experience faster loss of lean muscle over time, not because coffee is harmful in itself, but because in the absence of fuel, caffeine becomes a stressor, and stress, unbalanced and unbuffered, is a signal to the body that survival matters more than strength. Traditional cultures seem to understand this instinctively. In Ethiopia, in Italy, in many parts of South America, coffee is rarely consumed in isolation. It comes after bread dipped in oil, after cheese or egg, after something that tells the body, we are nourished, we are safe. And this pairing is not complicated. A boiled egg, a slice of toast with olive oil, a few almonds, even just a spoon of yogurt. These small additions change the chemistry of the morning. They anchor the body before stimulation. They allow coffee to do what it's meant to do, awaken, uplift, warm, without stealing from the strength you're trying to preserve. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach is like starting a machine without oil. It may run, but it runs hot, with friction, and over time the parts begin to wear, not because they were weak but because they were left unprotected. This doesn't mean abandoning the rituals that bring comfort. It means reshaping them with care, adding something simple, something real, something that tells your body, you are not being pushed, you are being supported. Because resilience is not built in extremes. It is built in the gentle daily choices that allow the body to feel safe enough to grow stronger, not just to survive the day but to move through it with steadiness, with clarity, and with lasting energy. Before we continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how much of your strength is still within reach, just hidden beneath daily habits no one warned you about? If this is speaking to something you felt in your own body, take a moment after this video to check the pinned comment. There's something there that might make your mornings feel a little less heavy, and your steps a little more certain. Now let's talk about something just as overlooked, but just as powerful: hydration. There's a particular kind of stiffness that greets many in the morning. The knees resist, the back protests, the hands feel slower, heavier, and often we accept it as part of getting older. Something to be endured with a quiet sigh and a deeper stretch. But not all morning stiffness is inevitable. Some of it comes from something so simple, so overlooked, that we rarely connect it to pain: the absence of water. After a night of sleep, the body is gently dehydrated. Not dangerously, not dramatically, but just enough to make movement more difficult, to reduce joint fluidity, to limit the delivery of nutrients that muscles depend on to stay elastic and alive. And when that state continues, when hours pass before the first sip, the body begins the day like a garden left unwatered, tight, dry, with less ability to adapt, bend, or flourish. Water is not just hydration, it is transport. It carries amino acids to muscles. It moves creatine, electrolytes, and oxygen through tissues that are trying to repair from the day before. Without it, even the most nutritious meal or the gentlest stretch may not reach its full potential. The body becomes a machine with clogged pipes, not broken, but burdened. In Okinawa, where elders are known for their fluid movement and remarkable longevity, the morning often begins with a warm drink, not coffee, not tea, but gently infused water, sometimes with barley, sometimes with herbs, sometimes just plain and warm, allowing the body to reawaken with softness. It's a gesture of respect, not just to thirst, but to the processes that keep us supple, balanced, and mobile. This doesn't require anything elaborate. One glass, not cold, not rushed, just warm water, maybe with a slice of lemon or a few cucumber pieces, taken within the first 15 minutes after rising, and something begins to shift. The joints move with less resistance. The gut feels less sluggish. The body greets the day with cooperation, not complaint, because water is not just about quenching thirst. It is about flow, the flow of energy, of motion, of renewal. And without that flow, muscles become stranded islands, isolated, unable to receive what they need, unable to let go of what they don't. It's easy to forget this, in a world that often values the stimulating over the sustaining. But morning is not a time to stimulate. It is a time to restore, to bring the body back into rhythm after the long pause of sleep, and nothing begins that rhythm more naturally than water. So when the body feels stuck, when the joints whisper of age, when the muscles resist with a silent ache, remember that the answer may not be in more effort. It may be in more flow, in giving the body what it has quietly been waiting for since dawn, the soft current of nourishment that allows strength to return, not suddenly, but steadily, one sip at a time. The strength you preserve begins with how you begin. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara once said, "To keep the body young, we must start the day with decisions that give back, not take away." And perhaps that is the quiet wisdom we need to carry with us. Not urgency, not pressure, but the gentle awareness that how we begin each morning shapes how we will move through the years ahead. Muscle loss after 60 is not just about age. It's not a punishment or a countdown or a sentence. It is a reflection, a mirror of the patterns we fall into, the skipped meals, the long stillness, the coffee that warms but does not nourish, the thirst ignored. These habits do not announce themselves as harmful. They are ordinary, familiar, but over time they leave the body more fragile, less able to respond, more likely to surrender its strength, one fiber at a time. And yet, within that same ordinariness lies something else, the possibility of change, not dramatic change, not perfection, just a shift, just one step. Because the body remembers, even now, even after years of silence, it listens when you care for it. It responds when you nourish it. It softens when you move it. It strengthens when you stop depriving it of what it quietly needs. Dr. Andrew Weil reminds us that healing is not an event. It is a rhythm, a collection of small acts that add up, day after day, into something durable, something human, something you can feel in your own hands when you rise more easily, when you reach without fear, when you walk just a little further than before. So the question is not, will I get weaker with age? The question is, what am I choosing to carry into each new morning? Because your next 10 years of strength, of clarity, of movement, of resilience may not begin with a new medication. They may begin with a single habit, one quiet change, one message to your body that says, "I still believe in you." This is not about chasing youth. It is about honoring life, the life you still have, and the strength that still lives within you. So consider this. Which of these 4 morning habits might be calling for your attention? Which one have you outgrown, even if it feels familiar? And which one, if changed, might gently begin the work of rebuilding what time and routine have quietly taken away? You don't need to change everything. You don't need to do it all at once, but you can choose one, just one, for 7 days, and you can listen. Because sometimes the first step toward strength is not a movement. It's a decision, a quiet one, made in the soft light of morning, when the body is waiting, and hope is still near.